Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.
The KVJ Podcast, precious show.
We don't care, we're about to swear on the air. It's the after the show, so tune in if you dare. KVJ, get risque every single day. It's uncensored. We can say what we want to say.
Hello. Welcome to Monday in the KVJ After the Show Podcast. Hey, we're going through a nice bout of lovely weather. It's been fantastic. And boy, we got so excited yesterday for about 15 minutes. I saw sunshine. It's like, wow, this is awesome.
I know. I lost my tan. I am not happy with this. Where is the damn sun?
I can hook you up. I'm going to get a little self-tanner on that ass.
No, I'm going to go natural, so when I dry out, I look even older.
Yes.
I'm working on my liver spots.
Yeah, there's some people that are older that just love tanning. That guy that polices our pool and our community, that guy's always there. We've been doing this thing where we go swimming now a good bit for a little bit of exercise, kind of get out. And so I see that guy all the time. That guy is a different level of tan. Like, they're different because he's a regular white dude, but he is very, I don't know what you would put him at. I would say that, right now he's like cattle brown.
There is a Palm Beach Gardens legend that you would drive by this guy's house, and he was always outside in the shortest little thong. And he would, shirtless in a thong, he was an older guy, always in the sun, very tan from the sun, kind of like what you're talking about. All this hair in his chest, and he would bend over, and you would just see his fruit basket. I mean, it was insane. You'd drive by, people would beep the horn at him. Teenage kids driving by. He didn't give a shit, man. Mm-hmm. That guy would work on his lawn every day with all of his glory, pretty much.
There's guys in my neighborhood, and the color is like burnt sienna. Remember that color in the crayons? Mm-hmm. Burnt sienna?
Yeah, I do.
It's like a weird, crispy color.
Yeah.
And you're just like, that can't be good, right? I mean, when is that guy going to drop from skin cancer?
Yeah, it's an interesting shade of brown.
He's winning against skin cancer, and he looks like he's leather.
It should be like a new Crayola color called like retiree brown.
Yes.
Or retiree tan. That might be the right, name for the color.
There also should be a color that's called boat drunk. It's a real pink.
Yeah.
It's kind of wet looking. Whenever that color is, people on boats, they get all hammered. They're out in the sun, and they turn pink like a baby hamster.
It is very fascinating if you're sober, because I was a couple of weeks ago, to be at the boat launch at around like 5 p.m. when everybody's coming back in. If you're sober, it is fascinating. I highly recommend just posting up in a lawn chair and listening and looking and watching, because yes, a lot of pink, staggering, arguing with each other people. It's fascinating.
Wearing a Guy Harvey shirt, very pink, very sweaty, very drunk.
Weird that Virginia's recommending for people to be sober.
I had never really done it before, and so it was my first time, and I was delighted at the entertainment level.
Mama hasn't been drinking as much, and in fact, I don't think do you drink it all over the weekend?
I drank on Friday, and I regretted it, and I just decided, you know what, stop it, because I hadn't drank for like 2 weeks.
Why? Did you get a buzz?
I did.
Did you get drunk?
I did.
I did.
At the house?
No, I actually had to go run an errand, and so I stayed in the car, and I just was sipping, and I shouldn't have done that. I was riding shotgun, sipping vodka with lemons.
Well, I'm not here to shame you. I'm just asking questions.
No, it just wasn't a good choice for me, and
Did something happen?
I just was just rude.
You were rude?
To who? Something did happen.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I was just rude.
You got to give us the details. What happened?
So, is this whole thing. It was pouring rain on Friday. And so Magnolia has not been allowed to have any friends in the house whatsoever. Even though she had been hanging out at a neighborhood house with other friends, and that mama was letting other kids hang out at the house. In our house, we had a rule that there was still no kids other than Mags and her 2 close girlfriends allowed in the house. So on Friday, I felt bad because Mags had friends, and it was pouring rain, and there was no other place for them to go, apparently, and all they had was their bikes, and they were going to have to bike home in the rain, and it was this whole sob story and so on. I felt bad, and so I was like, look, okay, if you guys are going to come over to the house, just make sure you're gone by the time we get back. Because me and Panda were going to be getting back at the same time, and it was going to be, like 6 or 6:30 or something like that. And so I gave her the heads up, hey, we're heading back. You and your friends need to vacate. And by then the rain had let up. And so, they could figure their own thing out in the rain or the lack thereof. But when we came in the house, her friends left their shoes. Her friends and her left the garage open. Her friends and her left the thermostat at 72. Her friends and her left the back door ajar. Like, it looked like the place had just been, wild animals had just run through. And it was obvious that there had been kids in the house. And Panda was very disappointed and was quickly figuring out that, I was a part of it. And so
how does this have to do with you getting drunk?
Well, I was drinking when we came back. I was drinking when I left the house. Riding shotgun, being driven around to Cuesta to run some errands, and then driven back home. And I come in the house and I see all this stuff that she had left, all these pieces of evidence.
And Queen de Cuesta did not like that.
No, because I was trying to be cool to you and let you have your friends in the house for 2 hours, and nobody was going to say anything, and then it was just going to completely fly under the radar.
So did drunk mom get mad?
She did, and I was anger texting Mags, like, why did you do this? Panda knows now, and now he's mad at me, and it was just a whole thing.
What to do?
And I made it more dramatic than it probably needed to be, but I was pissed. I was pissed because I was trying to do you a solid favor, and on the DL, let your friends not be drowned rats and have to ride their bike home 2 miles in the rain.
Who's set more tight on coronavirus stuff still, you or your husband, Panda?
Panda.
Okay, so he's tighter on it.
So therefore, I have to be tighter on it because I have to respect his headspace and how he wants his home conducted. And by allowing her to sneak her couple of friends in, I broke the trust that Panda had in me.
Okay.
And that's why I was pissed at her.
Did you continue to drink? Because I would have.
Not for long. I eventually had a meltdown and then put myself to bed.
Okay.
Oh, boy, that sounds like a fun night for Panda, doesn't it? It's Friday. It's
Friday
end
night.
of the week.
My wife got drunk.
She's all mad. She passes out angrily.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, here's the problem. Like you experienced, Kevin. When stuff goes down and you're drunk, you can't handle it as well as when you can handle it sober.
Right.
And if I would have been sober when all that went down, maybe I would have handled it different. I still would have been mad at Mags, but maybe I wouldn't have made it so dramatic.
No, you're right. Anytime you're drinking and things go wrong, and things are going great. I mean, it's good times.
Sure.
It's great. It's awesome.
Woohoo, having fun.
But if something happens
And it did.
and it blocks whatever you think should be going on, you do. Not you, but people. I'm the same way. You overreact on something that does not even
Overreact, make it more dramatic than it has to be,
Yeah.
turn it into a whole big thing.
Well, and part of it too is if there's an expectation or you get a reputation for being drunk a lot. Like I'd had that one time where there's an issue where even if you're like going, I think I handled that right. I was fine. I was good. They're like, oh, you were drunk. You don't know. And I go, no, I'm pretty sure that I know. That a lot of times was my side of it. And it came out one time where we had something and I had said some words. And they're going, yeah, but you've been drinking. I'd not had a drop. And I'm like, okay. No.
Not fair.
I did not have one sip of alcohol whatsoever. So I know that you guys always like to that is kind of the blanket where it's like, okay, if you even looked at a bottle of vodka now, then you've lost all rationale.
Yeah, I've seen that before too.
Yeah, and you're like, we're not going to go with like I was adding, or my behavior or my comments were out of line because I was a raging alcoholic drunk.
I wasn't smoking PCP. I was sipping on a beer.
But even that's where I realized the one time they came in, I'm like, I had not had one drink of alcohol. So you can't even use that. And I know you guys always use that as a crutch. So that's why for me, a lot of times just don't even touch the stuff, because as soon as you do, you're in your own mind like going, I can't be going crazy. They're two different accounts of this. I wasn't that hammered.
And sometimes,
or I wasn't even hammered at all.
And sometimes some people will look at the fact that you're even drinking, even if it's just a beer, and that you're saying, they'll use it against you and say your point's
you were
not
drunk.
valid.
You were drunk. Be like, I had 3 sips of a beer. There's no way I was drunk.
You were fucking tweaking,
right.
bro.
See, that's just it. You don't realize how you behave when you're drunk, and you're like, I had 3 sips of a beer.
See, he's getting defensive. He's getting defensive.
Right.
He's a defensive drunk.
That's exactly it. And that's why you're like, at times, you're like, okay, don't have any alcohol whatsoever.
You're right, though. You can be right in a fight if you have a buzz going down, but they can throw it right back at you if they're not drinking and you are, and that sucks.
And then the time I was like, I didn't even drink, they're like going, yeah, sure you didn't drink. I'm like, all right.
Well, at that point, then you just go and drink.
At that point, you're just like, all right, yeah. But that's typically what happens. Now, you talked about maybe Magnolia taking a trip with friends to North Carolina.
She wants to go. So her little girlfriend, the same girl in our neighborhood, that their family has been hanging out at home. We've been hanging out at home. They're renting a cabin in the mountains on a lake the end of June. Mm-hmm. They're driving up there, and they're just going to be at this cabin for a week.
Oh, it's just my game.
And Mags wants to go, and
sounds awesome.
Does.
I'm going to try to figure out more details about it today, but am I right to have a little apprehension and try to...
Well, yeah, anytime your kid leaves, you're going to always be worried, but are you also right to have her maybe do that experience? I think that's great.
Is the apprehension on catching a coronavirus and coming back, or is the apprehension on just a kid out at a lake?
Yes.
Both.
All of it.
Which is more?
I worry about, too, traveling, when she's on the road. And
which is more? My son...
away from me. And
my son Colin, when he was about Mag's age, had a friend, and their family had a house up in the mountains in North Carolina. And he would go frequently and had great experiences there. And he was fine. I mean, you got a responsible kid that's doing great, and those are great life experiences. I think the coronavirus, that is, maybe a different discussion a little bit based on just what I heard about your husband, Panda, and where he's set with it.
Those are the things I would have loved to have done as a kid, and my mom wouldn't let me. The only thing I was ever allowed to do that was outside the house was baseball. That's the only time I'd ever travel, and I wanted to go away to kind of the same thing. It wasn't on a lake, but my rich friends had this house up in Orlando, and they weren't doing anything crazy. It wasn't anything going to be crazy. My mom just said flat out, no, can't go. You can't go. Why not? Because I'm your mother. That doesn't make any sense, Mom. I'm your mother. I don't care. Go to your room.
I wonder what Mags would do if I suddenly go into your mom. I'm your mother.
That would make me a lunatic as a teenager or as a kid. You'd ask your mom why you can't do something, and she would come back with, because you'd want a reason. Okay, I can't go over to my friend Fred's house because of why, Mom? Because I'm your mother. What does that mean?
Yeah, I think as a parent, especially when they start to become teenagers, you've got to decide where you're going to be set on stuff. And my wife and I, we've been looser. Like somebody texted and said, Mags is too young for that type of trip. You got to make your own decisions. We made the decision when my son Colin was, 14, 15, and maybe he was even younger than that. We were letting him go with his family. We really trusted the family. They seemed to be very safe, and we trusted them and reputable and all that good stuff. And I thought it was a good experience. And my mom, kind of like, Jaybird had to know a lot. I had to know a lot. And, for kids, there becomes resentment that happens pretty fast at that age. And you've got to still be a protector of your kids. But there's some times where, as a parent, you've got to do some things that might make you a little bit uncomfortable. but you just got to have faith and trust, and you got to start building in that.
Yeah.
So I'll tell Mags, Kevin is a yes, and Jaybird is a yes.
You know the family.
I do.
That to
Yeah.
me, that's the biggest part. If you got a trust and a feeling that you can trust them.
I do.
Yeah, I think all that stuff is.
I know
good.
them. I trust them.
Yeah.
They're awesome. They have great kids. They believe in the same things that we believe in. You know, family is crucial and important. And
Just don't watch Dateline.
I just, I worry about the actual physical time away. Like, I'll be worried about when they're on the road. I'll be worried about, when she's swimming in a lake she's never swam in before. I'll just be worried about all the little details. But I guess that's just life. That's just me.
Just part of being a mom.
That's the whole thing. I would always, if I had a kid, I'd be afraid that I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want to be a helicopter parent. But the idea of my kid walking around a department store when they're 9 or 10 or 11 or even 12, and I'm not there to watch it, I feel like I'd always have anxiety. I'd constantly be panicked something was going to go on. And I always ask parents that question. I know that doesn't fully ever go away, but do you get to a point where, Mags goes outside, she's riding her bike with her friends. To me, I'm like, oh my gosh, so much could go wrong. I would be worried. But does that kind of subside as you go on as a parent?
Yeah, I think I've crossed that whole let her ride her bike outside the neighborhood thing. Like, she's been allowed to do that. So that was hard for me to cross too. But as she gets older, she just wants more freedom.
Well,
and
dude, she's got to be 16. She's definitely going to want some freedom.
I know.
Her license is in less than a year.
I know.
I know. That's just part of being mama.
I mean, that's legit freedom right there.
I know. And then when that hits, I'm going to have a meltdown.
Oh, man. I should not, like I was saying earlier, I should not have been on the road. I was only driving for about 5 weeks, and they gave me a license. First place I went to, McDonald's.
Of course.
It was me and my two buddies blasting, whoop, there it is, going through McDonald's. And I'm like, this is living.
I don't have to worry about that with Mags. She's a very healthy eater.
That's good.
She likes salads and acai balls, Mom.
Yeah, she's doing it right.
She's very healthy.
Got some emails. One from Friday. People like the fun games we played and what Thumbelina brought us. The suction cup dildos there as the one stuck on the counter. Tough to get off the counter. Somebody's Keith said, work it, big boy. Yeah.
Work it.
Yeah. Noel said, I know you get a lot of requests for ringtones. I would really like one that says STD, stick that dick. Game on Friday was a lot of fun.
Stick that dick.
So there you go. And also, Aaron said, hey, guys, currently watching the After the Show from June 4th. I see you guys playing Stick the Dick. And it reminded me of something. Every day when the podcast goes live, I get an alert on my watch. And I always think Virginia is holding a vibrator in this photo. It's actually a purple microphone, but you're right. It does look very phallic.
I got to tell you, I'm shocked and kind of surprised that our audience didn't do more with that picture.
I
thought there was
know.
going to be so many dicks and so many...
I even put it out there and I said, I'd like to see what people would do. Somebody put a lightsaber in my hand. Somebody else put an ice cream in it. And I really wanted a big, huge, throbbing penis.
I'm just shocked that no one did it. And
Yeah,
maybe
you were very dick hopeful.
Well, maybe we're in different times. I don't know.
Maybe you need to go home today and Photoshop.
No, you don't want... I'll put a sub.
We got Julie said, I heard you talking about great movies based on real experiences. I'm surprised nobody mentioned Concussion. It's a great Will Smith movie based out of where I grew up in Pittsburgh. If you haven't, it's a great watch.
Is that the football concussion one?
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Have you seen it, Kevin?
I actually have not, for whatever reason.
Yeah, I find that odd.
Yeah, I might, because it was something I am still interested in. When I had the sports show, I actually did a show based on that, talking to a doctor that was at Joe DiMaggio about the trauma that some of these sports causes for younger brains and the such. So I'll have to check that out. It's just one of those. There's just a lot of stuff that I know I need to watch. Somebody said, "Hey, have you ever seen The Big Lebowski?" I'm like, "No." They're like, "How have you not seen The Big Lebowski?" I'm like, "I don't know."
I have watched The Big Lebowski 4 different times, and every single time I nod off at the same spot. So I've seen it, but I've only seen a quarter of it.
Not a ringing endorsement.
There's a very young Tara Reid in that movie. The Big
How
Lebowski.
young?
We're talking, she's got to be 18.
Really?
She is super young.
Was it even before American Pie?
Yes, it has to be.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. All right.
I did not realize Tara Reid's in the Big Lebowski.
She's the girl at the pool scene that offers to go down on him for money.
Okay.
If I'm wrong, the chat room will let me know, but I'm like 99.3% sure.
Okay.
It's Tara Reid.
99.3.
Yeah. If I'm not right, you could absolutely dry gulch me.
Dry gulch you? What was that again?
I prefer a wet gulch, but okay.
Dry gulch when you kind of punch somebody when they're not looking.
Oh.
Dry gulch them.
All right. Sounds like fun. Liza said, "Hey, I was catching up on the show from this past week, and I heard you guys talking about Jaybird playing music for his dog Chewy and what genre works for him. I also leave on music for my dogs during the day. And my dogs bark if it's too quiet, and then they can hear outside noises like a car or a door shut or something like that, and I feel it drowns out the noises, and they'll bark as much. As far as genres, there's actually been a lot of research done on this with dogs. They found that dogs responded positively to reggae music the most out of any other type of music.
Huh.
It's said to reduce stress and help with separation anxiety. Did not know that.
You ever bump any reggae for Chewy?
I don't think I did reggae. I don't. He really responded to the sad country music. I tried a bunch of different genres.
Okay.
Yeah, he likes. Me and Chewy are a lot alike.
You are.
Fuck yeah, we are. To the people telling me that Tara Reid was not in the Big Lebowski, they're calling me wrong. I'm looking at it. She is in the Big Lebowski. She definitely is.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, congratulations on being right.
It feels good.
Yeah.
I'm going Twitter and fucking post it. I'm right.
Got an email from Don, said this is a big YouTuber that bought $1,000 off the $30 scratch-off tickets, or there is. He spent $30,000 on scratch-off tickets and ended up winning $20,000. So in the end, he was $10,000 to the negative. Okay.
Oh.
Well, that's interesting, the YouTuber that did that. Yeah, I was reading today, a lot of these YouTubers, they do stuff just to, hey, what can I do to get attention? Or what's going to go viral? Or, I guess something like that. And I saw that apparently some of these influencers are starting to cause problems. This is a story about Bel Air, which in Los Angeles, Bel Air really is, that's the fancy place. You go up through the winding hills of Bel Air, and that's where really the mansions are. It's not Hollywood or all that. Hollywood, in fact, some places kind of run down. Bel Air is the fancy. That's where the celebrities are going to live if they live inside the city and not in Malibu or someplace outside of the city. And TikTok went in there, and they got themselves a mansion because TikTok's got the money, and they've put all these TikTokers in there who are like, late teenagers, early 20s, and they said the street feels like Coachella and all these. Imagine Palm Beach. Imagine if TikTok went and bought a mansion on Palm Beach and just turned these kids loose, and they're running roughshod all over Worth Avenue, where they're saying kind of the same thing is happening in Bel Air, where the hoity-toity rich people just do not care for the youngins, causing up a furor on their street.
I also saw two social media influencers and some actors get busted taking pictures and posing for the protest and then getting in their car and leaving and not just doing it for the gram.
Yeah.
And people are coming for them.
That's gross.
There was this one actress, I can't think, she's a young actress. I didn't really know her, but I was reading the article, and she dug her heels in, and then there's footage of her actually posing for people, and she the guy that photographed or photoed her was posting out tweets and screenshots of her saying, "Hey, meet me here," and all this kind of stuff like that. So yeah, people they're coming for people who are going out there and protesting for the wrong reasons.
Right. Well, it was
saying
one of
a
those
lot
things.
of our social influencers.
Yeah. Well, it's been obviously something where a lot of people have wanted to It's the thing that right now it feels like that is the tone. That is what's right, is to be involved in this discussion. And some people are being shamed for not being a part of the discussion. And they're pointing out, being like, hey, it's odd that they're so eerily quiet right now. And so, yeah, some of these people are trying to get the easy, cheap credit. Hey, just drop me off at the corner, pick me up on the other side. I'll get 5 photos and we'll call it good.
All I know is this: everybody is calling everybody out, and it's fucking exhausting.
Amen.
It's fucking exhausting.
It's the wrong thing about it. It's I think it's great if you're compelled to do that, but everybody, it's got to be in your heart that you feel it's the right thing to do. Hopefully other people, some people, I think it's good enough that are just watching and listening. But yeah, I saw that tone the other couple days where they're really trying to hunt out people that have not been active in it, and then they're trying to shame them.
Well, that's not cool either.
I agree. Yeah.
Because now you're doing stuff that.
Well, they were shaming people who were taking a knee and saying they're frauds, that they're just faking it and it's not sincere, and then they were shaming people who weren't going out and doing anything, because those people didn't want to look like they were insincere. So it was like, well, that doesn't make any sense, because you're going to get shamed one way or the other. So it's like, how would you like to be shamed? Would you like to be shamed for looking like a fraud, or would you like to be shamed for doing nothing? And yeah, I think it misses.
How about it's in your heart,
Yeah.
and you treat people kindly?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially with the pandemic going on. If you have somebody that's sensitive to that, then they may say, that is not how I choose to get involved.
Stop being a fucking mind reader.
Yeah, why do we got to sit there and just, this whole thing is really about not judging people. It's about creating awareness.
Yes.
Let's just stop. That's just, you're
I'm
right,
going to judge people while I'm mad at people for judging.
Well, there's so many subset arguments that come from a lot of this, and it's layered, and there's a discussion to be had.
Yeah.
And there's some topics that isn't just A or B, and if you try to say C, then you are shouted down about anything.
Yeah, and what I've been saying through the whole thing is I ignore all of it, because it's distracting from the core of what is productive. You have things that are constructive and what is destructive.
Exactly.
That does nothing good. That doesn't build anything up. And so to me, I don't care. If somebody were calling me, I would just ignore it. Be like, look, I am part of the discussion, having the discussion. I want to come up with a constructive plan, and I want to act on it. This whole, did I kneel, not kneel, was I there, not there, all that kind of stuff.
When
like,
you call
let's just
somebody
forget that.
out, do you really know what they've done in their life? If you call somebody out, you got to be 110% sure you know what you're talking about when you call somebody out.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it loses its effect too. Calling out is effective when somebody, you need to be checked. And, hey, look, we need to be calling out even our best of friends to say, hey, look, I care about you, and for the best of you, I just want to let you know I'm kind of just bringing this to your attention. I would want my good friends to do that, be like, hey, Kev. But it's when you call out somebody too much and for every little thing that it starts to lose its effect. When it's done at the right time and for the right thing, it is effective. When it's about every little thing and now we're just trying to find a reason, it is not effective anymore. And that's unfortunately what we're seeing with a lot of it. It's losing its effect.
With a lot of it. I mean, at least on social media, it is like that. And it's hard to gauge real life versus social media. Now, I know that they blur and they bleed into each other's lives, but there's just a lot of fucking crazy shit on social media right now.
You're right.
Yeah,
And then I think because of the pandemic, a lot of people aren't out and experiencing life. So you're reading everything, you're watching everything, and you think what you're seeing on social media is everything, and that's how everything is, and that's just not true.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, you can't get yourself so bent out of shape about what is going on there.
But I'm sure someone's going to send an email about whatever I just said. I'm sure.
Yes, I'm hating what you said, Bert. Judge you up and down.
I'm sure of it, Virginia.
I did get a good number of emails. Thank you very much on the discussions on what is happening. And I've decided probably for our mainstream audience, I would encourage everybody to be a part of the discussion. I hope that everybody is. But I've decided to put it in its place where you can come and seek it out and be a part of the discussion there. I'm not really, weaving it too much into the after the show or the regular show. It is there. The discussion is happening. I'm pointing out places. If you missed the conversation I had on Friday, it's on our Facebook page. It's also on YouTube. And pretty much each episode, I'm going to be highlighting a different group that you can actively get involved with. And I was talking to Ricky Aiken on that on Friday. InnerCityInnovators.org is his website. And he let people know how you could actively get involved. And this is all local South Florida. So this isn't a national thing. And I know some people are like, well, if I donate to one of these charities, I don't know anything about them and they're national. Where's my money going and this and that? All valid. I understand that. But this is something where you could get in and roll up your sleeves and actually get involved, start mentoring these kids and start listening to the stories and say, okay, this is how we really start turning some things around and making a difference. So those emails, maybe I've got another one loosely, tentatively scheduled for this Wednesday. And so I do want to get to some of your emails. I am reading all of them. So thanks to people that are sending them. If you're going, gosh, I sent an email and the dude just totally blew me off. That's not it at all. Reading every single one, and then maybe on Wednesday on that episode, I can read through some of them. And I do thank you because people are sending me videos and different articles. And I'm right there where my mind is still just, I'm drinking it all in. I'm having conversations. And having those conversations, I'm not saying, well, I know exactly how to fix this and what's right. I'm not at all. I'm just like saying, hey, I'm trying to understand this. Do I understand this correctly? Is that what's going on here? Is that right? How did, I've heard this. What do you think about that? And so that's the kind of discussions I'm having. And luckily, I've got a good group of people that I can have that conversation with. And they're not going to be going, gosh, that's your,
how dare you ask a question?
Yeah. Oh, no, they're like, oh, no. Even if I'm completely wrong on a question I have, they're like, actually, it's really kind of like this. I'm like, wow, I never would have imagined that. And they're very cool with me. And so hopefully everybody can kind of find that. And that's why I want to have those kind of discussions where I am, where if you are there and you're like, I don't have that kind of group, you can jump into mine and you can ask those questions and I'll throw them out there. People that I'm, friends with and that I'm talking to, they know I'm coming with some ignorant questions because you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And us having a safe space where we can ask what would be ignorant questions, don't you just hate that? I feel like so many people are scared now to say anything one way or the other because they don't want to be called out.
Well, that's what I mean. People get on people for not saying anything, and they'll call them out for not saying anything. But for that reason, what you just said, some people are afraid to say something because they're afraid they're going to say the wrong thing.
Yeah, and your heart could be totally pure with your intentions, but you are so afraid of saying the wrong thing and making people mad and being misjudged. Mm-hmm. That's a thing, too.
And then CBS News was coming out with an article about how they were noticing that people weren't saying anything. And so you've got this really tough spot right now for a lot of people who were afraid to say the wrong thing, so they didn't say anything, and now they're being judged because they said nothing at all.
Good Lord.
Right, exactly. And that's where I just said, look, this is getting insane, guys. Like, let's have a conversation. So I'll take it on me. And I can take all the hate, and people can say, Kevin, you're this or you're that or whatever. I don't mind. I can absorb that. And so you can ride on my back. You can ride shotgun. I'll take the hate. You can get the learning. And then you can find out if you are compelled. And I hope you are. I hope this is stirring your soul where you're saying, I want to be a part of this. That something I mentioned in one of these conversations will really stick with you and be like, oh, man, I could really do something great with that group, and I'm going to get involved with them. And that, to me, is where we all are, where somebody might find their place in all this. So that's what my conversations are all about.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I love hearing the stories, too. Your people that were on Friday, they were great stories. Ricky told a great perspective of his life, and if it hadn't been for mentors coming in and helping take him out of a very bad situation, he doesn't know where he would be today. And what a beautiful testament that he was helped, and then he turned around and now is helping others and has dedicated his life to it. I mean, that is a man to emulate.
It is so key. And the successful stories, that's what's powerful, is they're going in and they're plunking a couple of these kids out with potential that are bringing them up. And then they're like, all right, you got to go back in and pull 3 more out. And that's how exponentially you start making a major change in our society. And then over a little bit of time, things start to radically look different,
I love it because it's positive conversation, and it's trying to open up dialogue. It's not, I'm going to say this, fuck you, send. It's none of that. I'm calling you out for this and calling you out for that. I know I can't be the only person that is tired of seeing that.
Well, that's why, like I said, I'm completely ignoring the destructive parts of these conversations that are happening. I'm aware of them because I just want to know what the tone is, but I'm not spending any time or emotional energy on it because the goal is about the constructive. what is it we can do? Because sitting there fighting and sniping at each other, it doesn't do anything good at all. And we're wasting our energy. We need to focus because there's a legit issue that needs to be addressed. Let's get right to the heart of the matter. I'm one of those people. I like doing shit.
And it's really an awesome thing to sit back and try to understand somebody else's perspective that you haven't been exposed to and you haven't seen.
Right.
And a lot of the white experience in our country does not understand in detailed terms what it's like to grow up black in America.
No.
It is not the same experience. And once you hear the stories and you hear the details, and you truly listen to that, you're like, okay, this is where I need to understand the difference and why I have to lend my voice to help.
Absolutely.
It is not the same experience.
Yeah. So if you didn't get a chance, check that out on Friday. It's still up on our Facebook page, on YouTube as well. And if you got any comments about that, you can go ahead and send them to me, mail@kvjshow.com. We'll get them and we will see them. One last quick little call out here. Keith had found this meme. We were talking about that family that adopted the 4-year-old child from China, right? That had
Yes.
The,
he was autistic and had a lot of issues.
They had to rehome him.
They rehomed him, but where?
Yeah.
The state of Ohio was looking for that kid the other day. I'll look for an update on that story.
Yeah, Engineer Keith said this, and he said, I think this one will speak to you, Kevin. It's a funny comment about that couple who rehomed their child. It's a photo of the wife and husband, and somebody left the comment, said, I'm glad the husband is bald. He doesn't deserve hair. So that was a fun little comment, Engineer Keith.
He doesn't deserve hair. Okay, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, good stuff there. So thank you, Engineer Keith. Thank you, everybody else, for all your emails and locking us in here to the After the Show podcast. Hope you guys enjoy your Monday. See you back here tomorrow. Goodbye.
Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.